A winter storm watch is in effect for New York City from Saturday into Sunday as another storm system approaches, and several of them are on the way, producing winter weather over the next couple of weeks. What's going on? Let's break it down. Hi guys, I'm John with the New York Metro Weather. Today is Thursday, February 6th, and by now, you've likely heard that a winter storm watch has been issued for New York City and surrounding locations from Saturday evening into Sunday morning, and the rumors are true. A winter storm is heading our way, but it's a very complex one, and I'm going to break it down for us today. We are looking at the mid-levels of the atmosphere here for this weekend from Sunday into Monday, and you might be thinking to yourself, this is not all that exciting looking, right? We have a ridge down here, these yellows and oranges showing you a ridge, and up here we have a trough with blue. There's no huge storm. It's really just kind of what we like to call a pressure and thermal gradient. So in between this warm and cold and these high heights and low heights, we have a gradient, and the New York City area is right on that gradient. And guess what? Storms love to travel right along these gradients, and that's what's happening here. We have just enough cold air to our north, just enough moisture and warm air to the south, and the storms are tracking right along the gradient towards our area, and that's going to be the theme for the next couple of weeks. We can look at this in terms of vorticity. This is just spin in the atmosphere, and if you've watched these videos before, you've seen some really amplified, intense solutions with this when we've been tracking potential winter storms. But with this one for Saturday into Sunday, this is it. This guy comes in from the Midwest and slides through and produces just enough lift to create a winter storm threat because there's moisture and there's cold air to the north, but not too much cold to suppress the system to the south. So it's kind of the perfect thermal gradient near the area to produce the potential for winter weather. However, when a storm approaches from the southwest, it gets very complex because there's warm air pushing up and cold air pushing down. So the storm's coming from down here, the warm and moisture is coming up, and the cold is pressing down, and it needs to be timed perfectly to be all snow. And I don't think that this is going to be all snow in New York. So this is valid Saturday around 4 o'clock, not too much going on. Now we head to about 7, and we see snow breaking out from southwest to northeast, but you also notice these pink colors here in the mid-Atlantic. This is a wintry mix, sleet and freezing rain, and that's going to be a problem as it moves up into our area. Here is around 10 o'clock p.m. on Saturday night. We have snow breaking out across the region. It's a little heavier in northern New Jersey. That sleet and freezing rain line is creeping up. It's almost to Philadelphia already. And now, as we move to about 1 a.m. Sunday, so very late Saturday night, heavy snow has moved through the area. We likely have accumulating snow in New York City, in Long Island, Connecticut, New Jersey, and southeast New York. But that sleet and freezing rain line is pushing almost all the way up to around New Brunswick here, just kissing the south coast of Staten Island by 1 a.m. And as we push this forecast forward into about 4 a.m., that sleet and freezing rain line has pushed through New York. The Bronx, Westchester, far northern Jersey, Connecticut, just barely hanging on to heavy snow here at that time. And then as you roll that forward even more, you see that the freezing rain has pushed all the way up into North Jersey, and the snow is now in New England. So you can see how close this is, right? A tiny shift to the north or south is going to heavily impact the snow totals here and what you see outside of your window. If it shifts a little further south, New York City will get into more of the heavy snow. If it shifts a little further north, we'll be in a little bit more of the mix. But the winter storm watch is in effect for all of this, right? Right now calling for 2 to 4 inches of accumulating snow in New York, followed by a changeover to a wintry mix of sleet and freezing rain. So it's going to be a mess out there. Snow, sleet, freezing rain, ice. It's unlikely that we'll get pure rain out of this. It looks like completely wintry precipitation in the New York City metro, Long Island. And if you're in Connecticut, Massachusetts, and up in southern New England, you're probably going to see significant snowfall from this. I don't want to pay too much attention to these snowfall amounts, but here's what the European says verbatim will fall. Again, in New York, it's 2 to 4 inches of snow. We're just seeing that 6-inch line come up through northeastern New Jersey and into parts of southeast New York, just north of the city, and much more widespread 6, 7, 8+ inch amounts in southern New England. But you can see that cutoff just south of New York City, right? Not much in Philly. They flip over really quickly. Northern New Jersey gets much more in it. So it's going to be really tight here, and we're going to have to figure out the details of this as we get closer. And as I mentioned, just a tiny little shift north or south is going to heavily impact what we see from this system. So that will pass by Sunday, and then cold air comes flowing in, guys. I mean, this is going to be another cold pattern. But the thing that sticks out to me is that warm air still hanging out down here. If we go back to our height anomalies and zoom out to North America, troughs and ridges, right? This is not that complicated. We have yellows, reds, and blues and greens. Look up to our north as we move into the middle of February. All this red and yellow up here in Canada and the Arctic, this is a high latitude block. And all that does is it takes cold air that typically resides here and displaces it down here into Canada. and it also slows the pattern down. So that sets the stage for several potential storm systems here in New York. And we know that we're still on that gradient, right? So there will be plenty of activity and lots of cold air around, and the potential for winter storms all the way through the middle part of February. The models are agreeing, right? Here's the ensemble. You roll it through the next several days. Here's our storm Saturday into Sunday. But guess what? If you roll it past that, there's more and more and more, and it just keeps adding up into the middle part of February. So if you ask me, we're heading towards an active weather pattern here. Let's stick with this first storm coming here Saturday into Sunday, and we'll tackle the storms after that, after this one passes. The winter storm watch in effect Saturday night into Sunday right now looks like a couple inches of snow, followed by a change over to a wintry mix. We will break it down as we get closer to the event, guys. Thanks so much for watching. Talk to you soon.